It's all good. Colleen's got coffee. Welcome to episode 34 of the Great Northern Sexcast. Colleen, what's up?
It's a pretty calm week.
Really?
We're looking for employees. In retail things go change a lot. Doing some maintenance at the stores, gardening, getting merchandise in. I hate to, I'll knock on something wood somewhere, but it's nice.
That's cool.
Now, mind you, I'm pretty sure eyes are rolling from Megan over here. She's got to deal with the day-to-day stuff, and I'm dealing with, with other little stuff.
Yeah.
Like switching over bank accounts and stuff like that. But I don't know, going along. Yeah.
Well, you guys just got through Christmas in July. Wasn't last month kind of gnarly because you had to get ready for Christmas?
Well, you have to decide what you're going to get, what you're going to order. You got to sort through everything. We're trying. I discovered that replacing a few pieces of slat wall and painting ends up being replacing all the slat wall and changing up some, little things. And this week it was like, so far, mind you, it's Tuesday.
There's plenty of time for everything to go to hell, Colleen. Yet.
I call it the 2x4. Just waiting for it. Everything's going fine, and then you just get smacked upside the head. And you're like, okay, now I got something else to deal with.
Well, why can't you hear out of one ear?
Just water in my ear. I'm special.
Oh. Because I've been deaf in my right ear my entire life, so I'm like, yeah, I get that. But it's weird, isn't it?
It is very weird. Everything's a little off.
Yeah. Do you have any balance? Are you dizzy?
No.
Okay.
It's very strange, and I'm used to it because like I said, special noggin. So
you're just in mono today.
She's in mono, and that's, by the way, is Miss Megan Vaughn. Welcome back.
I had mono when I was a senior in high school. Everyone else is down in Texas and having a good time over spring break, and I'm seriously considering whether or not I'm going to wet the bed. I'm so exhausted.
Really? I've never had it. Have you ever had it?
No.
I
keep my kissing on myself.
To this day, I compare all other illnesses to that week.
No kidding. You only had it a week?
Yeah. Well, that was the week where I was just out.
Okay.
Just out. And like spring break, senior year, friends are down in Galveston, Texas. Friends are all over the place. No one's coming in travel like people do now.
Uh-huh.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
But it's what it is.
Yeah.
But it's given me this base point for what really freaking miserable is. I know there's lots of other stuff out there, but for your basic virus, it's such a
Yeah. Well, it's weird. They've been running this completely random. Mono is widely thought of as a young person's affliction. I suppose anybody can get it, but they've been running those ads on TV for meningitis. Have you seen those? It's like a public service announcement about revaccinating your teenagers. Because I knew somebody that got that and almost died, and he's fine now. But it was like seriously. Do you as a parent? Do you get barraged with all the stuff to do to your kid, and is it hard to decide?
Oh no, there's no decision. It's done.
Okay.
Sorry.
Yeah. No. I'm just some people are funny about that stuff.
I know. But I will. To me, the not doing it is so much worse than the possible anything that there is.
Yeah.
Doing it.
Yeah.
And so no, it's all taken care of. Everything. Because I'm myself. I'm like, can I get some of this stuff? What I really want is the shingles vaccine, but you can't get it till like over 60. And I'm thinking, I know plenty of people under 60 who's managed to get shingles.
Really?
I guess these shots are like $300, so they don't want to pay for it. And I'm saying, I suppose I could, chuck out $300. But no,
yeah.
I got a shot here. Here's my damn arm.
Oh, I did not know this about you. Well, before I forget, now that Megan's here, because Megan, we haven't seen you on the show here in a bit, because one of the reasons is I know you were interviewing people. Because
yes.
Colleen said, yeah. Okay, can you just give me a little snippet of how the interviews have been going and anything fun? Because when my boyfriend's sister, who's a pretty high up at Macy's, she comes back with the best interview stories. And if that's just for a department store, what the hell do you uncover? I'm just curious.
Well, first of all, someone has to show up. But once we get past that point,
oh really?
There are a lot of jobs out there.
I think that's the biggest problem is I don't have any crazy stories except for I scheduled 5 interviews. One person showed up.
That's
crazy.
Amazing. That's amazing. Yeah.
So don't tell me about the recession and no one has jobs.
No, there's been a few. I've done some interviewing myself, and you're pretty much trying to find someone who is comfortable around our product without being scary about being comfortable around our product.
There's a
That's
fine
a good
line.
point.
And you're just trying to figure out, and it's a conversation to see how someone's going to deal with the fact that a perfect stranger is going to tell you something very personal, and how you respond to that means a lot.
I always bust out a big, like, so how would you feel talking to a guy about his erection? Talking to a guy about his penis, a woman about her vagina, and just see the look on their face.
Yeah.
And there's a fine line, like you said, between being excited about the job and way too excited about the job. I'm like, if you're this excited, you have the wrong idea about what this job entails.
Yeah. No, I mean, I'm sure, that there's got to be, like, what are some of the things that you ask, Colleen? Just
Well,
to
it's been for a while. I ask if you're, what, are you comfortable handling cash? Money, stuff like that. Can you give me? I bought something the other day. I was buying some cat food, and I handed the person actual money, and the child behind the counter was unable to count back
Oh my
the
God.
money to me.
Oh yeah.
So I'd like to know that someone is a bit, understands cash, that or going through there. Are you going to be? I like folks that have worked at like a dry cleaner store. These people expect miracles at a dry cleaner store, and they get, you just, are you,
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah, or do you have? I really like several good employees have been ex-military because they're really good at dealing with people.
Huh.
So
Yeah.
yeah.
You tell them what to do when they do it.
That's always
They
handy.
know how to clean.
They know how to clean things.
That's funny.
Because I don't expect if no one's in the store and the store's in good shape, I don't expect busy work. It drove me insane when I had part-time jobs. So I've had people bring in a little table drum kit and work on it. End up working for a couple musicians in town, having folks work on their homework. I mean, I'm fine. But if I go into the store and find dust on a mannequin stand, then I'm going to be cranky.
Right.
So just not being proactive about things and stuff like that. And, just being pleasant.
Yeah.
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 It's sales. It's a sales job.
Yeah.
I mean, yes, they are personal toys, but it's still a sales job.
Retail the last time I worked actual retail, I actually, when I went back to broadcast school when I was 30, okay, I actually ran an Oric store. In fact, it was their highest producing store in the country, the one in Minnetonka.
What street?
Oric, vacuums.
Oh, Oric.
I sold vacuums. You guys, I had an absolute riot on that job. I mean, absolutely hysterical because, they're expensive. So the people that were coming in were usually, pretty cool, well educated and stuff. And you'd throw crap on the floor and vacuum it up. And, I really got into it because it was something to do. And I accidentally made a boatload of money doing it. Huh?
I sold vacuums at Donaldson's.
Did you?
I worked in the China department, but I would be put in the housewares department every now and then.
Yeah.
And one day I was over there, and they had a vacuum sale. And I'm like, okay, let's find out about the vacuums. As a sub, I sold a ton of vacuums that day.
Yeah.
Because I just found out about it.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's really amusing how passionate some people are about cleaning, and the things that really bug them, and so it's kind of like with you, it's like uncovering, okay, what's your issue? What are you trying to deal with? And this would be the same thing. It can be fun.
My dad was definitely a salesman.
Yep.
And I think I picked that up. Because I had restaurant jobs, and then I had a lot of sales jobs, and then, of course, family job. And it's sales.
Yeah.
And like I said, I don't care if it's a bowling ball or whether it's a label vibrator. You need to know everything about that product.
Yeah. Well, so you guys are still looking for people. Let's just put it out there.
Yes, we are. We're hiring quickly. Sounds like perhaps Burnsville and Lake.
Yeah. So folks are going back to school.
Okay.
And stuff like that. The folks had to move. A few things, are coming up, and so we're like, it's just life of retail.
Yep. But obviously you're a great company. So if you know anybody, get in touch with us through the Great Northern Sexcast here on Facebook. Speaking of the change thing, can I just tell you, I can't believe you brought that up because this morning I went, I did my exercise walk and I ran to get some grapefruit at a grocery store, and a couple in front of me was buying a watermelon. Okay. And they had the audacity. First of all, they had to count out their money. I'm talking like stacks of change. And I hadn't had my coffee yet. So it was like 6:15 in the morning. So I'm starting to get impatient. When the child behind the counter whipped out her iPhone and got the calculator function to figure out the change, I went to the self-checkout. I couldn't believe it. Seriously.
No, I made sure, and I still do it every now and then, if I'm, someplace that I will make my daughter take the money out of my purse, count it out. I mean, she loved it when she was a kid. She groans at me, but I make her do it. I said,
That's funny.
You will know how to count back change. It's no problem.
Yeah.
It's knowing how, currency works.
It's huge. I mean,
it just goes great. And there's some things that are sort of like, things going around like, why do you say hang up the phone? Nobody hangs up the phone, to some extent. I mean, some kids don't even know that they've always had an iPhone or something like that.
Sure.
But other things, you still need, counting back money is, it's not going away anytime soon.
Right. Right.
No matter how much Apple is trying, I know.
Yeah, they're gonna make us pay for everything. Laser beam that comes out of our watches or something. I'm not that.
I was afraid where you said that it was going to come out of, but okay.
No, Apple hasn't touched that market yet.
Oh God,
Missing the boat.
that's a good thing. That's a beautiful thing. Did you guys see the story about the fellow down in North Carolina that was proposing to his girlfriend at a restaurant? And did you?
Yeah. Yeah.
This was quite something. Took her to his favorite Mexican restaurant, and a robbery became in progress, and he literally, I'm sorry, honey, like from the knee, getting up to go help them apprehend the dude, and then go back. It all turned out well, but wow, they're going to have something to tell their kids. You think?
Yeah. I can tell she did in fact say yes.
Yes.
Because,
Yes.
So not only is he down on his knee being traditional chivalrous, he just goes and saves people from that, and then he comes back. And I guess it was like, now where was I? So he also has a sense of humor. So that's the part of I like this guy.
He's definitely a keeper, for sure.
Yeah.
With that, I imagine puppies springing out of his pocket.
Yeah.
Such a great
He was kind of,
and he probably knows how to make a really good puppy.
yeah, he was kind of hunky.
Yeah. I haven't seen a picture.
Oh, he's a good-looking guy. Yeah, big dude. Yeah.
Well, the beginning is going very well, so if they can maintain it, that'd be great.
Well, I mean, talk about, chivalry, man. I mean, seriously. Woo, it's alive. I love it.
It is
so excited. I'm so excited. Guys, I was really surprised about some stuff. I'm not a big plastic surgery, hound, but I was, the big butt thing, Kim Kardashian and all of that kind of stuff. Butt enhancement has far surpassed, breast augmentation is way down, butt enhancement is up, and labiaplasty are making leaps and bounds.
Yeah, I know that a lot of people, in Brazil, because I think where the blood stuff started, because they're just, the whole evening beach stuff down there. Besides sewage and liquid water, that's a
lot of bums. A lot of bums.
And you just don't, and I can understand not wanting to have a saggy ass, but I'm pretty sure that if you do squats, you're not going to. But I suppose if you're genetic, if you truly don't have an ass, and there are people who truly don't have an ass.
Yeah, there are those people.
I have no ass. I have the Irish apple shaped. No ass.
So would you consider butt implants?
No, I wouldn't.
No.
I don't have a judgment about if somebody wants to look better and all of that kind of stuff, but I'm freaky about implanting stuff in my body that doesn't belong there.
Definitely. Well, and especially with the butt implants, it seems so much more possibility of something going wrong. Or in my head, I'm just imagining you sit down too hard and you pop them.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? You get a lot more wear and tear on your butt.
But yeah, that's a good point.
You're walking and you're sitting, and there's a lot more movement, but
A spank and it just deflates, and then you get it.
Oh, I know a friend of mine's ex-wife who they were at a very, very bad place right before their divorce when this happened, but one of her boob implants popped and deflated. That can happen. So
I can see that. And I'm not really. I don't have an issue with folks that want to do something, but I think it has to do with if you're doing it for you, that's fine. If you're doing it for someone else, than that, you know, it's going through there. I mean, to really look at why you're doing something, like, and it goes down. I mean, you know, I love my fake nails. I do them for me.
They look very nice. I was noticing your mani, by the way. It looks great.
No, I mean, but I'm not going to pass it off as these are my nails.
Yeah, yeah.
And I think that, you know, and plenty of people, you know, it's okay. Like, if it's going to make you fit better into the world that you live in, and it's going to make you not, you know, if you keep obsessing,
yeah.
This just shows it's a trend.
Oh yeah.
You know, I wouldn't want to I say this with tattoos and piercings, so I guess there's a bit of a grain of salt there. To permanently augment your body because of a fashion trend. What happens 5 years from now? Everyone's like Kim Kardashian, and then big butts aren't popular anymore. It just goes in cycles. So
yeah.
you do have to do it for yourself, and not because of societal standards that will constantly be changing.
For sure. Well, listen to some of these numbers. This is shocking. I was like really surprised here. So, the American Society of Plastic Surgeons says that out of a survey of almost 1,000 doctors, silicone implants for the rear end nearly doubled nationwide between 13 and 14. And then there's a less invasive operation that transplants fat. That one's called the Brazilian. That rose 15%. But a lot more of those were done, 11,000 versus like 1,800 of the actual implants. Then a different professional group, about 900 doctors strong, said that their numbers showed doubling of both of those two types of augmentation. They were doing 21,500 in 2014 over 13. So I thought.
Okay, that's just the bump. That's not the women that are messing with labia.
Oh no, I haven't gotten to them yet. Okay. Oh no, they've got numbers. But there's a Miami guy who said butt augmentation used to be 10% of his practice. It's now 95%. He must be really good at it and have gotten a following. But yeah.
Really, if I was going to have my ass enhanced, I want somebody who knows what the hell they're doing.
Yep.
So you got to go to the top ass man.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Definitely. It would be nice, I imagine. Like a bike hands, but falling down. I got nothing that holds anything up, so I guess in that way it's a benefit.
This is not my issue.
Shopping plus size with no curves makes shopping difficult.
Another lady, she's head of the American College of Obstetrician and Gynecologists. She said, the reason the labiaplasties are rising, this is her theory, is that the Brazilian waxing, those Brazilians, man, we've really finally,
so everyone can see what's going on.
And they're starting to look, and they don't want floppy skin down there. Which, you know what? That's an aging thing. And I'd be like, yeah, okay, I can almost see that, What are you, Colleen, you're thinking?
I'm thinking, because I'm just like, it's not that I'm unaware of what, female body parts look at, but I can't imagine that at any point. I'm just trying to figure out where someone's brain is, where they could look at their labia and see something looks. I want it to be tighter. It's not. I mean, I can look and say I can't fit into clothing, or my boobs are too big, so I'm going to have some taken out, or I'm a chest with nipples, and I want to be able to, feel more female.
Yeah.
But I mean, in general, your labia just are out there on display.
But you have to like your labia.
Yeah, I guess that truly goes back to the point where you must be doing it for yourself, because
yeah.
I think it's actually kind of sad, honestly. I mean, first of all, where are they finding the standard of what a beautiful labia? Like, what labia is like the model of all?
Yeah,
the Marilyn Monroe of labia.
Yes.
Yeah, because you can say I want this person's nose or this or that. There's a whole bunch of. There's a nose chart. I'm sure there's a chin chart. Is there a labia chart?
There should. Well, that's what I was going to say. When I think of when we get all our fleshlights in that are modeled after adult stars. We've got like 15 different vaginas displayed on the box, and they all look different. So I suppose you could take in a fleshlight and be like, I would like the Jessica Drake labia,
I suppose.
But it's, small, big, floppy, what's the term, roast beef, meat curtains, they're so different that how do you decide what's good and what's not?
mean, I suppose if you wondered, this discussion we had earlier, and I mean, it's not like, only men can get their junk caught in the seams of their underwear. If something shifts,
Right.
something shifts.
If you're zipping it up.
Or you're constantly getting it, it's getting snagged between the jeans and the thong, maybe. I don't know. It's not like,
I just think there's enough ways that we judge women who keep their ladies up.
Well put, and this Dr. Barbara Levy agrees with you. The quote from her said, "It's one more body part that we as women are being told to be insecure about," which I thought was kind of an interesting comment. But I don't know. I just was amazed. They had a 49% increase in the number of women getting that surgery in year over year, 2013 to 14. So I thought that was kind of interesting here for the sex test. So okay, I actually put a lot of the show together Sunday afternoon this week, and I came across this story, and I just, how sometimes you kind of just put yourself in it and you just lose it. I mean, I literally was laughing so hard, and Carl was trying to ask me what was funny, and I'm standing at the bar where I work, laughing so hard, and I couldn't even spit it out to tell him, and I'm just pointing at the computer screen. Well, then he gets tickled, because I can't even talk. I'm laughing so hard. And now that I've said that, nobody's going to think what I'm about to say is funny. But
yeah, you got to be careful to set up.
But I did. Okay, so in Norway, there's this golf club, and I can't pronounce it, okay? Just FYI. It's this crazy name. And
It's called the NGG, the Norwegian Golf Club.
Yeah, right? And it's a heritage golf club there. And they had this guy serial crapping in the cups on the greens for like 10 years. Okay, and now the quotes from the article are what just literally put me over the edge. One of the groundskeepers, yes, he has some favorite holes, and then they're talking about how they can't get a permit. I guess in Norway you have to have a permit to install video cameras, surveillance, so they can't get one. So they've been trying to use motion detector lights, but he disables them. He goes up, he gets up behind them. So sneak attack on the motion detectors, goes and takes a dump in the cup. And I mean, I'm just thinking about, and it's been going on for years, okay? So
did they, is it an offense? I mean, I suppose they could stake it out. I mean,
yeah, but I think they're about ready to do that. But I mean, they find it. I mean, it's like it's ongoing. And so finally, the thing that did it for me was the club manager said, he could be mentally ill. And I'm picturing this all happening with Norwegian accents too, okay, which also increases the hilarity for me. He could have a mental illness, or he could have a fetish. But he says, or we've wondered more than once if he's a person that just really seriously hates the game of golf.
That's pretty much where it goes. Like, if it's a club, maybe are they looking at people they didn't allow in?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Back 10 years, see who they rejected.
Oh, God, I just about... Go ahead.
So you just, someone crabs at the golf course, and they're like, that was fun, I'm going to do it again.
Yeah, 10 years.
For 10 years.
I like that.
People are crazy.
And the fact that no one's made up. And at what point did someone at the golf club go, wait a minute? Because I would think the second time that someone crapped on the golf course, then you would, obviously, so they can't put up cameras or because of rules, but you would figure it out in more than 10 years.
You think? And the media calls him the Serieskiter, which translates into serial shitter. So he's a media darling too, apparently.
I just wonder how they find it. Like, is that first unfortunate goal? That's
when you don't celebrate the whole one.
I made that, or making that putt.
Right.
Oh my God. Just picturing, and it's like, what the hell is going on out there?
Actually, no, maybe what it is that someone really, it's what they do to the new groundskeeper. Wherever they get a new person, you got to go clean the shit.
The initiation.
The initiation is the shit cleaning. Shit-initiation.
Nice.
Like
yes. So, really quick, I thought this was, and I don't know how I bumbled onto this, you guys.
Oh, wait, so it's just I have no idea how I find stuff sometimes.
Yeah, okay, good. I feel better. Yeah, so Pornhub is a porn site out there, and they wanted to kind of break down, they wanted to get some market data on who was out there looking at porn, and I was really surprised at some of the things that they found. They did this survey in conjunction with BuzzFeed, and lesbian is far and away the top viewed category among female users. And then women, 445% more likely than men to search for girl on girl. Now, what they're saying is, if they're straight women, a lot of them are straight women, which is what is so interesting about this. And so they're talking about, there's a sex therapist that was commenting on the whole thing, and she says, they're looking for good sex. They're just looking for, something that they wouldn't necessarily do, but the more thoughtful things, because regular porn that's male-female generally seems to be more centric around the men and kind of expedience.
Yes, and it's a little more, explicit. It's definitely still. I mean, it's getting a lot better. I mean, there's a lot of female point of view, films out there. Mm-hmm. But for the most part, it's still a, male voyeur sort of thing. And it's probably also a, really good thing. Hey, I never thought about using my toy that way.
Yeah.
I think there's a few things, like, I know that, if I were watching porn, I'm much more interested in, like, oral sex scenes, like a guy going down a girl, and I don't want a bunch of jobs and facials and whatever. Like, I'd rather just see him eating someone else. So that way, that's a lot of that, And honestly, I hate to tell it to guys, but like, penises are kind of funny looking. They're not necessarily all that attractive. You don't have to go get surgery to fix them or anything, but I don't necessarily want to look at a bunch of dicks.
Really?
Yeah, it doesn't do much. So I totally get it.
And that's why I think a lot of guys are looking at it too. And if more women are beginning to go look at it, I think they're going to be a lot more comfortable with that too. So I would be curious to see what the survey says. Let's say 10 years from now, when it's become even more ordinary for women to be more visually stimulated.
Yeah.
What they're veering into.
Yep. Well, I think too. I think that let's just be blunt here. I think that if we're watching, like, for example, lesbian porn, and let's just say that they probably are pretty skilled at whatever's going on, I think we're going to be going back and saying, hello, like instructional much? Yeah, you know what I mean? I can see that happening.
Though I do kind of have the issue with the term lesbian porn, because most girl-on-girl, they are not lesbians.
Right, yeah.
Actual lesbians don't enjoy watching them. It's not.
Actually, a lot of female scenes and male scenes are pay-per-play. I mean, there are lesbian, actual lesbian movies, there are gay male movies. A lot of it is it's their job.
And they just do.
A lot of the gay male stars are straight because you get paid so much more money.
What?
Yeah, guys get paid nothing to do porn. Women get way more money. So a lot of straight men will do the gay porn because they get paid a lot more than they would to do straight.
No kidding. I did not know that. Interesting. Okay.
Yeah, it's an industry. It's a job.
Yeah.
And the different pay scales and what's going on in the scenes.
I suppose that makes sense when you say it out loud, but it never would have occurred to me. One more quick thing here before we get into it. There's some really interesting discussion topics out today. But good old Macy Gray, where's she been lately, right? Yeah, so different. I mean, she's just unique. Well, she has come out with a new song, which, Meg, you're going to put it up, right, on the Great Northern Sexcast page. And the animation looks like our logo. But it's a love song for her vibrator. And it's called Bob, Battery-Operated Boyfriend, yes. And it's hilarious. It's cute. It's a really cute song. I'm not even kidding you. She's just talking, too, about, like, you can stop when you want. And, there's kind of some female empowerment undertones to it, but it was really good to hear her singing again, so check it out on our website.
The song is actually really good. It's like a fun, like, kind of doo-wop-y, happy.
Yeah.
Now, is it fairly obvious? I mean, is there going to be a parental advisement board going insane over this song, or is it, because
they're not playing it on the
radio.
So
yeah, I mean, I don't know how, I don't know too many stations. I mean, I'm sure it shows up probably on satellite radio somewhere.
Okay.
It's kind of vague. It's a little veiled. I mean, she says battery-operated boyfriend.
And she says sex, and she says, and the video's cute. It's animated little, it's a dildo, and it's bouncing around and dancing and doing all sorts of adorably dildo-y Thanks, but it's just, but the song is like catchy as heck.
It is.
So
It's
you
an
gotta,
earworm.
it is. You gotta be checking that out. So Macy Gray, good to hear her voice again. So yeah, Colleen, we have reached out to a couple of different specialists, and we are waiting. Summertime is kind of tough.
Oh, everyone's a cat.
Yeah. And we're getting some sexual health instructors and experts, actually. We want to come in and talk about some of the other things. I mean, we love the funny stuff. We love crapping in golf cups and whatever. But, you know, some of this stuff is, you know, pretty serious. And it really does affect all of us, especially people, you know, that have kids. And the CDC came out with, they did a 3-year sort of survey based on interviews with about 2,000 people aged 15 to 19. And the numbers that they're showing about the use of the morning after pill is really quite stunning. Or I thought they were. I want to see kind of what you guys think. So what they're saying is 44% of never married female teenagers and 47% of never married male teenagers had had sex at least once, which is way down from 60% for the boys and 51% for the girls back in the 80s. The AIDS scare drove down the sexual activity. So sexual activity overall has come down quite a bit. But what they're saying is that they are showing that the use of the morning after pill has risen steadily when it was 1 in 12. And they're saying now it's 1 in 4.
Education.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, because there isn't too much that they can't find anymore, and so they know what the consequences are. They know that if they just follow their bodies instead of their brains, they know that there's a way to take care of it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you can Google anything,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and so so I can see that and I'm sure that the pregnancy rate is probably way down too,
Mm-hmm.
because they can take they have knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing concerning about that is I hope people aren't using the morning after pill as contraception.
Yeah.
I mean, it
Well, it also didn't exist. I mean, technically it existed 30 years ago in the 80s, but all it was a big. You just went and got birth control pills and chucked like 12 of them down your gullet.
right.
Now they put it in like 1 or 2 pills.
That's basically all it is essentially.
Yeah.
I mean, there are still doctors that will prescribe birth control pills and tell you how to take it versus going in and getting the Plan B, which you can get over the counter. Because someone still doesn't want to ask for that.
Right. Well, it was 2006 actually was when 18 and older could buy it over the counter, and then that was starting in 2006, and it was 2 years ago that they lifted the age limits, making it wildly available. And that was the thing that concerned me, because I don't think that that's probably good for you to do.
Well,
You know,
it doesn't
repeatedly.
protect against diseases, and
Yeah.
I know I've actually I took it twice, and I felt really sick
Really?
both times that I took it because it's such a massive.
Dose to
It's a
hormones.
super pill.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so much hormones. I was really sick both times.
It's really funny because although teenagers' brains aren't done,
Mhm.
they still, I still think that having access to information, access to that, is certainly better than an unintended pregnancy or just what happens pretty much if you have a kid when you're not prepared to have a kid, and I don't care what age you are,
Mhm.
because it's going through there and just you don't know what relationship that person has with their family. So being able to get it, I'm not going to look outside. I know what happens in my family. Your family's over there, and I can't make a decision for you that way.
Mhm.
It's just so I think it has more to do with education. They know what's going on.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the question that I guess I would have for you, Colleen, as a parent of a teenager, it's like, they're so afraid, and your house is going to be a little bit different than a lot of others, I realize, because you've just got so much more awareness and openness about things, But it's like, yeah, how do you get them over that hump of going to more drastic measure such as that, like what you said that made you really sick, Meg, when you took it, to doing the things on the front end to where they don't find themselves in that position? I mean, that's going to be tough.
No, yes. Some will, some won't. You don't know. I mean, there is no 100% for anything, and I think that's what people sometimes get really, really hung up on. That just because it may not work a few times, or it may not work the way you want to, doesn't mean that you can't help the other people. I mean, everyone looks for that perfect solution. There's no such freaking thing.
Yeah.
And, can something be, and then sometimes when something's working a little bit, and then you offer it like a change, like, maybe this would make it better, or this is that, then they cling to something maybe too long.
Yeah.
Because once again, they're just everyone's looking for perfect, and there's no such thing. And that's what, so just more options, more, just so you can figure out what works for you.
It's kind of sad. I'm wondering if some of it's not that, now that they've turned to a lot of abstinence only, it might be easier for kids to get their hands on the morning after than it is on condoms.
Because that way, it's like if you buy the condom, then somehow you've done something wrong.
Right. Well, and there's the age limit on the condoms, and if people aren't giving them away, when I went to school, you could go to the nurse's office and give them for free. I think that's.
I think you still can
required
in the Minneapolis school system. I know they have a school clinic and all that sort of stuff.
Really?
But it's because that if you tell someone no, and then they screw up, there's only and they have a plan for it, plan for the occurrence, and there's only one option afterwards.
Yeah.
And you can tell if you give them education, that hopefully they will make a better choice. They may not.
Yeah.
But at least they have the information.
For sure. I don't know. It's just it's what's sad about that whole thing, and is like you've got some parents saying, well, I don't want condoms available at school free for my kid. Now you're usurping my control over what happens in my house and my family. And unfortunately, I don't see those arguments and those two sides of the spectrum coming together anytime soon. Do you?
No.
Unfortunately.
People are way too hung up on what they would like to happen versus reality.
Yeah.
And that's the problem.
Yeah. Well, so speaking of sex education, that's been things where different factors of society have been at loggerheads for years, and there's a kind of an interesting situation at Florida Atlantic University, and they've made some news, and it kind of folded into this, so I wanted to throw it out here. So what they want to do is they want to try to comply with federal law that requires a certain amount of education to raise awareness and hopefully prevent campus sexual violence, right? Get that down. And they're all required to offer some sort of an educational thing, that they have to require students to do, okay?
So they haven't said what this thing is, so there's, okay.
So the schools are defining it in their own ways. So what they decided to do is require this online course that contains, and you can't, if you don't do this and answer these questions, you cannot register for your classes, okay? Some of the questions in the survey that they have to answer are, let me give you a couple of them. How many times have you had sex, including oral, in the last 3 months? With how many different people have you had sex, including oral, in the last 3 months? If you had sex, including oral, in the last 3 months, how many times had you used a condom? And the course is called Think About It. It's like, I don't know. I feel like they could probably teach guys not to rape girls and girls not to be victims without making them have to cough up who they did what with and how many times. I don't know.
Who says you got to tell the truth? Just put 0.
Well, I think I would be super offended. I mean, I was reading.
I'm saying, is it really? Would you rather take a survey online, or would you rather sit in a class with a crap load of other freshmen and take the same class?
You're not going to get anything out of that survey. I guess that's what I'm confused about.
Is there stuff? After the survey, what do they get from it?
Well,
is there information? If you answer one way or another, is there stuff like, did you know that this happens? And this,
Yeah, I couldn't get into the actual. I just saw the snippet.
Just lie. Who cares?
Okay. That is not what I was expecting, but that's cool.
I don't understand. Once again, everyone's waiting for a perfect way to tell someone not to rape. They haven't figured it out. They're only just figuring out you get to tell people not to rape versus to tell people this is how you don't get raped. So things are going to be clumsy.
Yeah.
Sex is clumsy in this country, incredibly clumsy. And this is just one aspect of it. So just lines, click, click, click. Just go ABCD. Who cares?
Yeah. But here's a question though for you guys. I mean, we're hearing about campus sexual violence a lot. It's probably being talked about more. It probably hasn't changed much over the years. But the question that I've always had about that kind of thing is if a guy is willing to push in that situation, it's like, okay, you think about rapists that are out on the street that grab random women and rape them, or whatever that would look like, and you think of that being a category of an actual criminal. This stuff that's going on campuses, is it the same exact thing, or is there sort of this gray area out there in society where somebody can go from one side of being normal to cross into that zone, not going all the way to the typical sex offender that we're used to thinking of? You know what I'm saying?
No, it is, okay, the law has already said that there's a whole bunch of different graduations of sexual assault. There's felonies, there's misdemeanors, there's all sorts of stuff. So we've already cited that a whole array of offenses are different levels. But the rarity of someone grabbing along the street is the boogeyman that everybody has, and so they haven't looked at spousal abuse or friend rape or getting drunk at a friend, and that has more to do with and I think that person and the person on the street are exactly the same. The one person just has more access.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, it's just going through there. But like I said, we've already the court system, and we've already agreed that there's all sorts of there's a whole bunch of different graduations. First degree, second degree, misdemeanor, felony, all this sort of things, aggravated. Special circumstances. And they're already. That's already been established.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just. You see that, and Law and Order loves to make episodes out of stories like this.
Oh, yeah.
That's like they do that once every month, I think, at least. But it is a strange phenomenon that can you educate somebody out of the tendency to?
Well, I think it's going to take a couple of generations so that a certain segment of the population does not feel entitled to other people's bodies.
Yeah.
Because it is a true sense of entitlement that you're not allowed to say no, that you've been brought up that you're supposed to act one way and other people are supposed to act another way, and if someone says no to you, then it's some sort of personal affront.
Yeah.
And it is a centuries old thing, not just us, not just modern society. Centuries old, multiple disciplines, and the fact that it's taken 10,000 years of civilization to finally get to the point where someone goes, wait a minute here. Nobody has a right to anybody else's body.
Yeah.
Grandma does not have a right to force someone to hug them if they don't want to. Someone doesn't want to be touched. They don't want to be touched.
Yep. Yep.
The fact that you are responsible for your own thing, and that sounds amazingly radical to some people. That someone would have control over their own personal being from someone else.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it was really, we think of this stuff as being, criminal or something like that. Some of the worst cases, in my opinion, in history of horrific sexual behavior, if you will, was literally how women were traded like horses, particularly among the powerful, the people in power. They were literally, sold and, to cut deals and everything else. If you watch all those, the series The Borgias is really particularly disgusting and portraying that.
Yeah, that's horrible. And the fact that, it is not just women. Men, are being told to act a certain way, and then they don't understand why it's right. So they're harmed that way too. Going through there, or the fact that there's still, modern, that everyone, as a young age doesn't know that their own body is theirs. It's going through there. It's just, it's not a new thing. But it does seem rather radical when someone kind of says, "Wait a minute."
Yeah.
This space is mine. And you don't get to come into my space. And, the fact that the other person is supposed to respect that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's interesting. We've been battling that particular issue for such a long time, throughout the millennia, Colleen, as you mentioned, and taking a couple generations. That said, what makes me wonder is, like, with all and I don't mean to portray this in a negative sense, but the ambiguity with gender definition now that we have is becoming more mainstream, and transgender and transsexual and all that other kind of stuff. I wonder if the acceleration of any of this is possible, or if they even go hand in hand at all.
I think blurring gender lines is going to destroy gender stereotypes, which can lead to a lot of rape. Because I actually do think there's kind of a difference of a guy, for the frat boy at the party who is like, oh, she's drunk, she loves it, you know, whatever, versus the serial rapist that, you know, the boogeyman, as you say, that hits people on the street, where they're the frat guy is, it's an opportunity and not respecting women, whereas you know, the boogeyman, it's an act of violence. Like rape is an act of violence, not lust or passion. And a lot of those people are mentally unstable, and that you can't fix. But the idea that there isn't this huge difference in the roles of different genders, I think will help people understand.
Yeah.
You are a woman, but that doesn't mean that I can just, that you're there for me to put my dick in whenever I want to, regardless of what you say.
Well, think about it. We didn't even talk about, you know, female rape until the Mary Kay Letourneau stuff with the teacher student, the famous one, most famous. And now we see it, it seems like, all the time. It took us a long time to even say, hey, that's not all right.
Yeah, that it is perfectly, you know, capable of a gentleman to be sexually assaulted to be raped. Or that it's not just, hey, you know, that 14-year-old you know, boy got lucky by, you know, screwing his teacher. No, he was assaulted.
Yeah, but that's what they used to say.
Yeah, like lucky him.
Right.
Well, they just did an interview, right? Was it 60/60, or they just had like a, you know, 20 years later, where are they now? And guy seems messed up. Like,
does he?
Yeah, it is not a healthy. It was not a good thing. Like, go bro, you have to have sex. It was like she messed you up for life.
Yeah, it's creepy. Yeah, it's completely creepy. So, let's lighten it up just a little bit, shall we? I want to see if you guys agree. Now I was all depressed. If you guys agree or disagree, I found this 7 things you should never do before or after sex, and I want to see if you guys agree with these things.
Crap in a golf What?
Well, that would be, yeah. That's a mood killer. That's a mood killer.
Well, I guess depending on what you're
Me too.
Number 1 was, don't rush out of bed to use the bathroom. Okay? And what they're saying is, you know, you might have heard that you should pee immediately after sex to avoid a UTI, but a little bit's not going to make that big of a difference. This is a professor at Baylor that's explaining. She says, really, you know, you're not going to be necessarily on fire between your legs if you take the time to sit and snuggle for a few minutes. Plus, it's more polite. What do you guys think?
If you gotta pee, you gotta.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I understand where they're going through there. I mean, if you don't have to pee, don't go force yourself. If that's what they're talking about, that's fine. If you're taking that to heart, that you need to flush out to make sure you don't get a UTI. But if you gotta pee, you gotta pee.
Well, and I know it's sticky. You gotta clean yourself up a bit, right? Snuggling's no fun when you're gonna like stick together.
Yeah, and besides, it's either go clean yourself up or change all the sheets on the bed. So really, which one do you want to do? Because which one's going to get a little bit more of a mood killer, honey? Really, we gotta strip the whole bed and put on the new sheets and do all this sort of stuff. And while you're at it, I think I'll just run this down, put it in the washer. No, just get up and use the
I never know what I'm going to get. You guys are definitely a box of chocolates, that's for sure, when it comes to this sort of thing. Number 2, don't finish the bottle of wine. They're talking about before or after sex. And they're saying, hey, it might put you in the mood, but too much can make it unsatisfying. One study said that 11% of alcohol users reported problems achieving orgasm. And men, compared with non-drinkers, men who drank had a harder time ejaculating, and women needed to be stimulated more in order to climax. And it says that basically your naughty bits get depressed too by
it is
booze.
depressant and it's going to make you tired. I don't drink wine because I'm allergic to it, so I don't know. So I have to change to don't finish the bottle of vodka. And that I can figure out because I'm just going to go sleep.
Yeah, I'm already suspect of this list just because I feel like everyone's so different. Like, there's a few people in the office I know that would say no, finish 3 bottles of wine. It makes things more fun.
Well, can I just say, if you have part of a bottle of wine that got you into bed, what's wrong with finishing it after? I mean, come on, man.
Right.
So.
I know very few people that are going to have a bottle of wine sitting around. You crack open a bottle of wine, you're drinking a bottle of wine.
Right.
Either that, you're like doing it wrong. You mix yourself a little tiny bottle.
I did have one guy that would, he would drink too much, and we'd be out at the bars, and I'd remind him, and I'd be like, okay, this is your limit, because I need you functional when we get home.
Functional. I love it. That's beautiful. That's a beautiful thing. Well, the third one is kind of interesting. It talks about avoid or assume this particular position. It talks about elevating your pelvis after, and they're like, hey, be careful of that because it can boost your chances of conceiving. It'll help the sperm travel to the cervix quicker. So that's a personal choice. That's just either way. Okay, this one grossed me out. This one really grossed me out. Don't let him skip his pre-sex shower. And they're talking about uncircumcised partner. They're like, nope, go clean the foreskin. Okay, if you have to tell him,
Yeah, that's...
I mean, to me, if we're already on the verge of that and we don't know if that foreskin is clean, I'm sorry, what are you doing there?
Yeah, that seems like, oh, by the way, we're going to want to be alive letters, so let's continue breathing. I mean, I don't know, basic bodily cleanliness seems... if you're not there already...
I fully support this one.
Yeah.
This one is 100%.
But I'm just saying, if you gotta tell them. The next one, don't have a big dinner. And they're talking about, healthy foods, particularly legumes and veggies. Gaseousness.
Oh, no, you just, you can't have the food coma. Oh, my, you just like,
Just like a couple of beach whales.
Not sexy.
No. I mean, just really, if you're going to go out and just know you're going to have food, just have the sex beforehand.
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah.
Or you're going to need plenty of time, or you're just going to be waiting for, morning sex. Because there's too, no.
Okay.
You're too full, food coma.
Yeah. Well, I'm all about avoiding the gaseous explosions myself. You're gonna love these next two. Don't put sex toys away without thoroughly cleaning them.
Yes.
Well, yeah. I mean, I don't know if you're gonna jump immediately on the bed, but no, you want those suckers clean. That's all there is to it.
And you guys have a lot of really good cleaners too.
Yeah, and a lot of them, and they're wonderful. So take them into the shower with you.
Yeah.
A lot of the stuff. And make sure that you are really cleaning these. And then you want them dry before you put them away. You don't want them touching. You can wrap it in some fabric, or we sell individual bags that you can wrap the stuff in. Because you want that clean.
Yeah, because you don't want to put it like in a Ziploc either, probably, especially some of the silicone stuff, right?
Yeah, no, you don't want just a nice lint-free cloth to wrap the stuff in. So no jumbling stuff around.
Yeah, I just imagine if you're like, whatever, I'll clean it later, and then you're not going to remember that it's dirty until you're in the moment wanting to bust it out for the next encounter. And you're like, oh, right. That's going to kill the mood.
Yeah, that's a crusty toy, mood killer, that's all there is to it.
Well, ew, I mean, once it gets to that point, how do you... Oh, okay, never mind. Okay, this last one cracks me up. This is a good one, too. And the show... don't use a lubricant that includes menthol. Do we really have to say that out loud?
Well, actually, we have quite a few of cooling and tingling and warming and stuff like that. So I would say that if you're going to use a lube that's a warming or cooling one, that you want to test it out a little bit beforehand. You do not crack it out and squeeze the hell all over yourself before you're going on board, because you don't know how you're going to react.
It's kind of like...
Everyone's different, so you're going to want to be very, you definitely want to test a little bit of these things, which is one of the reasons we started carrying really smaller bottles of lube, because you don't want it to, if you've cracked it open and you knock it over, you don't want to feel like you wasted too much. You want to know if you like the flavor, you want to know if you like how this works, and you can always go back and get more, because if you invest in a really expensive, and there's $50, $75 large bottles of lube, and you just say you don't like it, no,
Okay.
You better have a lot of squeaky doors or something.
Oh, God.
This is part of the conversation.
Let's put it on the door handle.
There isn't anyone in the office that hasn't cracked out about, gone and grabbed one of the sample bottles of silicone lube to grease a hinge on a door or a counter.
Oh, really?
I've got a weed sprayer at the office. I couldn't get the cap loose on. Went and got some when I finally got it open.
That's awesome.
So there's a lot of different uses for your lube other than sex.
Works great, folks. Give me a shot.
Yeah. Do you have, samples at the stores? Like
pretty much all of the lubes and the flavored lotions and stuff like that do have little samples. You can put a little bit on your hand. See how it feels, testers, stuff like that. So you can see what's going through there. And I need to update it a little bit because we've dropped one line, brought in another line. I need to redo that part of the poster. But it has some sort of idea of the viscosity and the flavor and the stickiness and all that sort of stuff. And I tested all of it, so it's all one point of view on the poster.
Okay.
Because some people might say that I don't taste it, metal at all, or this or that. And I tell people that one person tested it. It is fairly subjective. I try to be as unsubjective as possible, but still, it's my taste buds and it's my nose. And I have an insanely sensitive nose, so it's most people aren't going to smell what I smell. So I always put a little bit. But I can manage about 3 or 4 of them before I'm just over. The taste buds are overwhelmed, especially if they're some of the ones that are. If they're not meant to be edible, but someone still wants to know what it tastes like because you could, too metal.
Yeah.
Or so so you see the poster in the store? Yeah, that was me testing.
That's amazing. That's actually very useful. That's really cool. So good to know. So guys, we do have coming up in the near future a recurring guest. We're going to have Mrs. Sin back on. We're just hammering down which week she's coming in. And so that's going to be a do not miss episode. We'll find out what's going on in the summer swinging community here. And I'm sure a great deal more if it's anything like the last time she was here. So we will look forward to that. And check us out on Facebook. We'll post the Macy Gray thing. Megan Vaughn, thank you. Colleen, we'll be back next week.
And maybe I'll have more veggies for you too.
Ooh!
Okay. Have a great week.